It's what we get to do as runners. Like this is gets me giddy. I mean, these time it just gets me giddy, everybody. Let's go to the shooty-o, shooty-o. All right, here's a graph. We're gonna break this down. Running more, some data points to talk about. So exciting. Hope you're having a great weekend out there around the world. And yes, if you're new to the channel, welcome. A lot of new people. Thanks to the New York City, there it is. Thanks to the New York City Marathon Vlogs. This is a daily running vlog channel where I share thoughts about training, running shoes, racing, life in general. We have a good time here. But if you're new, you might not know that for me, I'm always sharing, and I've said it a lot, but I'll say it again. My goal is to stack training block on top of training block on top of training block, injury-free. An injury for runners is where, for me, how I quantify it is that where you have to stop running. You have to throw in the towel on your training block and come back another day, all right? Where, you can't finish out the training block where, whether it's a stress fracture, something in your knee, a hamstring, an Achilles tendon. We runners, we suffer a lot. We do have a lot of overuse injuries. So I'm always saying, if you can stack, for the new runners out there listening right now, if you can aspire to stack 6 to 8 training blocks on top of each other with no injuries, that is amazing. Now, how long is a training block? For me, 3 to 4 months, usually, all right? Probably, 3 months on the low end, 4 months on the higher end, so 12 to 14 weeks. Let's just call it, let's just take the 3-month option. So if you do 3-month training blocks with, and that's 8, and you aspire to do 8 training blocks in a row, injury-free, 3 times 8, 24. So we're looking at roughly, obviously there's a little more overlap because you take time off after training blocks, but we're looking at roughly 2 years of injury-free running. That is what I'm talking about in today's vlog. That's what we are aspiring to. And on top of running more. So I've made a vlog, how I run faster. And does it connect so well to what's on this whiteboard, which we'll break this down in a minute, is the aerobic engine. I'm a Lydiard student, Arthur Lydiard, and so how I try to run faster is to build my aerobic engine first, okay? And so I'm not gonna dive into that right now, the science behind your aerobic development, upper right-hand corner, or I'll try to link to it down below in the description if you wanna dive into that vlog, which is now a couple years old. And now sometimes the vlogs on the channel are simple, sometimes they're extra spicy. You all know how I like my hot sauce. So again, how many miles a week should I run, and how to structure that vlog is also a spicy, amazing vlog. I made it about 10 months ago. I'll link to that down below in the description, also upper right-hand corner, in case you want to dive deeper into the specific topic of how many miles a week should I be running, all right? But today, I'm talking about running more injury-free, all right? Because in order to run, actually, we better do it right now. All right, here we go. The most data points. So this was my, just last week, my New York City, my second New York City marathon, 2019 and now 2021. So the data points, remember, here are my splits from the New York City Marathon. All right, there you go. I only went to half marathon because that's where the wheels came off because of stomach issues just like 5 or 6 days ago. But there's the split. So getting faster, but the amount of data points in that race, on that course, is a little limited. Only 2 years of data points. Whereas, for those, again, new, I live in Colorado. I love the mountains. I'm more of a mountain runner versus road runner. So I don't want to call it annual race, but I have now raced the Pikes Peak Ascent or the Pikes Peak Marathon. I think we're looking at about 5 times now. So the amount of data points for that same course is developing. It's growing, okay? So here we go. This is crazy, all right? I'm gonna try and be as efficient as possible. This over here is the volume of running, the amount of miles per week. And then this over here is the calendar. So we're looking at 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, and 48 months, all right? And then the outlier is this point over here. Let's just dive in. Hopefully you can see that as best as possible. This is 2010, 2017, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So I did the ascent the first 3 years, and then the marathon the last 2 years. It's the same course, but instead of going to the top and stopping, on the marathon, you go up and then you go back down, okay? So in the brown, that is my volume, and then this is the progression of times, okay? So again, running more. I don't know about you. I like to run faster. I like to set goals. I like to have challenges. I like to PR. And when I say I like, it's not because it's honest. It's the pursuit. It's the pursuit of chasing down those PRs that's, I think, kind of fun. All right, and we need a little more fun in this world. If you know, it's like there's so much craziness out there. Having a goal to strive for is a beautiful thing is a gift that we get to receive as runners. Okay, so here we go. 2010, 232 for the ascent. 2017, 221. 2019, 212. And 2020, 209. And that was my first marathon. And then this year, 206. So again, 232, 221, 212, 209, 206. That's pretty wild. All right, we're getting faster. So that is for the ascent time, I should mention, not that 206 and 209. Now, for volume, we're looking at 60 to 70 miles a week, 90 to 100, 100 to 110, 115 to 120. So that was the 209 year. And now this year, I was running between 120 and 135 miles a week to get that 206. So cutting 3 minutes, PRing for the ascent by 3 minutes, not getting any younger, okay? So 36 years old now. So again, the only reason I was able to do that over the past 4 years, the past 48 months, is because I have been injury-free, mostly. All right, so on that point, here we go. My last injury was January 2020. I had runner's knee, all right? So we're almost to the 2-year mark. I have stacked now, because I completed New York City healthy, I have now stacked 6 training blocks back to back to back to back to back with no injury. It barely even really aches and pains. I have fallen, but that has not stopped me from running. Where I've scraped my knee up in the mountains. You all have seen the footage. Some pretty good falls out there, but that has not actually stopped me from running. And this last training block for New York City, as you all, I talked about yesterday, it was the highest volume of my life. So running more at 100, I was in, go watch yesterday. It was 140 miles a week. Don't do that. What is that? About 220 something kilometers per week for everybody outside the US. Don't do that. But I break it down as far as the lessons I learned from the last training block in yesterday's vlog. So let's get a little more specific here. Here we go. The practicals. How do you actually do this successfully? Running more, injury-free. First of all, the number one rule is you don't ascend the volume roller coaster, as I call it. You don't ascend quickly. In fact, you go very, very slow. We're talking 18 months, and frankly, even as much as 24 months, and into that 36-month range of increasing your volume 5% and maybe 10%, depending on your I should mention, all of this take with a grain of salt, because I don't know your experience level. All right, how long you've been running, I just don't know. So take it all with a little bit, but for the beginners, let's call it 5 to 10% per quarter. Okay, I know that's crazy. 5 to 10% per quarter. All right, and I know that's not much, and you may be like, Seth, I'm going to be retiring by the time I'm at the volume I want to be at. Well, I've seen time and time again, I've seen so often where people end up injured because they increase their volume, and then they get discouraged and they quit, or they have to completely restart and they're miserable. Okay, so that's why I lean in the direction of less is more while you're increasing your volume. Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two, nutrition, micronutrients. For me, I have been able to stay healthy, I think in part because I have transitioned what I eat, my nutrition, a lot more so towards the veggies, the veggies, lots of it. You all know the stir fries, the salads. Yeah, that's just how I feel better as a runner when I pack in the micronutrients. I've made plenty of vlogs about what I eat in a day. You can go look it up on the homepage of the channel. All right, strength work in the gym 2 to 3 times a week. Not going to go into the details as far as what I actually do in the gym, but strength work in the gym 2 to 3 times a week has helped tremendously. Oh, so key for my overall staying healthy. Point number, what am I on, 4? Or is this 3? 3 or 4? Varied terrain and vertical. Now I realize I live in Colorado, so we've got some big hills here, big mountains. You may live in a flat place, so this is, it's a little hard at times if you live in, let's say, I know Florida is very, very flat, but varied terrains and vertical. So seek out those opportunities to run uphill and downhill. I feel that, when you have to brake just a little bit on the downhill so you don't fall on your face, I think I feel stronger in my quads especially, and my overall, like right around my knee area, when I am seeking out that vertical in my training. And just the varied terrain, so running on trails that have rocks and roots, and you really have to pay attention to your footing. But what you're doing is you're firing all these little muscles, tendons, ligaments that aren't always used when you're just running on the roads or the track. Okay, so there you go. And number 5 for how I believe I've been able to run more, okay, 90 to 100 miles a week in 2017, up to 2021, where I'm doing 120 to 135 miles a week with lots of vertical. How I've been able to do that is the big reset. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm a big proponent of once a year taking the big reset. What is that for me? 2 weeks off, no running, no gym work, no cross training, where I let the body completely reset. And then even after, peak races throughout the year, you all know I'll take at least 4 days, really upwards of 7 to 10 days off after most of my peak races. It's that reset that allows the body to say, whoa, and absorb what you've just put your legs through the entire training block. But also, depending on the distance that you're racing, but it can be, I don't want to call it traumatic, but it's a lot. Racing through, and whether it's road or trail, there's some differences there, but the intensity of a hard road race on your body, it does need time to recover. And by doing that, I've stayed injury-free, again, for 2 years now. So it's just amazing. So again, patience in building your volume, nutrition, varied terrain and vertical, okay, varied terrain and vertical, and then the big reset. Did I miss one? Oh yeah, strength and conditioning in the gym. And then the big reset. You hit the big reset button. That is what I am doing right now. Okay, question of the day. Oh yeah, comment of the day. I will do the question of the day first, actually. How many miles a week do you run, and how long did it take you to arrive at that point? Okay. How many miles a week do you run, or kilometers, and how long did it take you to arrive at that point? Maybe it was 6 months, maybe it was 6 years. Maybe it's been your entire life. That's also part of the macro level approach to our training as runners, is that, it just is a game of patience. And that's why I do advise kind of that slow build up. And, I didn't even talk about my injuries in college, over a decade ago. Maybe I should. All right, so stress fractures. I think I had a lot of stress fractures in college, lots. And now my bone density, I think, is there. I don't know why I had exactly so many stress fractures. It's hard to say exactly. But now, a decade later, okay? So that's what I mean by that 5 to 10% per quarter in volume increase. And guess what? In 2 to 3 years, you're going to be running a lot more, okay? Hashtag patience, everybody. Comment of the day. Here we go. Shout out to Laura. I did a full analysis of my last training block for the very first time and found several areas I could definitely improve, including overall mileage, interesting, and training at goal race pace. As a reflective exercise, I highly recommend because I noticed things I wouldn't have otherwise, and in some cases even thought I was doing well on. The global perspective is key. So Laura is a member of the channel, and she goes on to say, also, shout out to Discord. DDGR is an awesome and supportive community. Laura, thanks for being a member. And this is what we're breaking down over there on Discord, like reflecting on our training blocks, and that's what we're doing right now, reflecting on our volume and maybe our aspiration to run more injury-free, and potentially, if it's, done well, to race faster and to chase down goals and dreams. Because guess what? It's #fun. It's fun. It's what we get to do as runners. Like this gets me giddy. I mean, it just gets me giddy, everybody. Giddy too. And you have this too. I know I get to communicate it here on YouTube, but I pull out your old training logs and your old race results, put it on a graph, and have fun with it. It's like, I do it by hand. You can do it on your Excel spreadsheets. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for tuning in. We will toss it to the volume. How many miles a week should I be running and how to structure. Right there. All right, seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.